Welcome to the Brokers Open Podcast.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Palm Media. Palm Media is a boutique digital marketing company built for realtors by realtors. They help agents and teams dominate a target market with specific, tailored strategies. Everything from video, chatbots, landing pages, Facebook ads, database management, and coaching. And oh my gosh, it is way more affordable and simple than you could ever imagine. Call now for 100% free strategy session, whether you have a budget or not. Dr. Ben, my good friend, will make sure that you are heading in the right direction, building your presence online, or flat out crushing your competition. Before you spend a dime on marketing, door knocking, or sending out postcards, call Palm Media, 813-765-7706. 813-765-7706. Or click the link in the description below. Manifest your paradise.
What's up, guys?
Hey, another Friday morning here. Friday morning at a Brokers Open podcast, right?
Yep, good action. It's beautiful weather right now. I tell
Incredible.
you that the little cold front came through
It took us down to 76 or 78.
at night.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
We still get the 86 during the day, but I tell you,
Absolutely.
the humidity dropped enough, so I'm pleased about it.
Hey, doors were off the Jeep last night, heading
Yeah.
home from soccer practice with my daughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was incredible.
I saw that
Absolutely
sunset
incredible.
picture that Tammy posted.
Man, she has got a gift for that crap, man.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
telling you, it was an incredible picture.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is incredible. Is that, and she goes, that's no filters or anything. That's
No
just,
photo. Yep, that's cool.
Yeah. So speaking of what's going on around us, right? So what's market always shifts, right?
Yeah.
So it goes from the listing side, goes to the buyer side. Typically, what happens is as it's swinging from one side to the other, there's a part in the middle that is kind of confusing to everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so in that confusing part, that's whenever board offices have more complaints about everybody, right?
Yeah.
The public is more pissed. The sellers are more confused about what really to charge for the property. The buyers are underbidding or overbidding when they didn't need to be. That sloppy part of the market. We might be through that,
Yeah.
okay? And we've been in it for probably 10 months, something
Yeah.
like that. So let's talk a little bit specifically about our market.
Yeah.
But because we want to help folks out, let's talk about the market in general as it shifts, what happens also.
Yeah.
Okay? So I know you keep up with everything market going on and all that kind of stuff. Talk to us about what's going on around here
Yeah.
and what you think is going on from a national level, and then I'll talk a little bit about how the market shifts and what to look for in those shifts.
Yeah, sure. So what's interesting right now is I'm personally, and then all the agents that I talk to in my office and outside of my office is inventory complaints right now. So there's not a whole lot on the market. And if there is something on the market, it's probably overpriced and sitting there. But if
quality.
something, right, exactly, it's not quality. But if something is priced right, it's moving really quick right now. And that's, for the majority of the price ranges, I'm feeling a little bit of a slowing up in the luxury sector right now, but that's usually normal towards the end of the year.
Right.
But I find that interesting, and you see the stirring a little bit of all the realtors kind of trying to figure that transition out. But something I mentioned yesterday on my Instagram was being prepared for the unforeseen, right?
Yep.
So being prepared for what you're not expecting. And this is a really, really good example of, agents and brokers alike, people in the real estate business should be constantly prepared for any shift in the market and should be kind of thinking on their feet as that goes.
Completely agree, 100%.
Yeah.
When a lot of people hear shifting markets, right? You can pick up a newspaper and hear it all the time. The difficult part with a shifting market is how long the shift lasts. That's a very important part of it, and what impacts that shift. In markets that are not diverse markets, Tampa has a very diverse market,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a lot of different levels of ownership, a lot of different jobs,
Yeah.
affordability of homes, and cost of living is in a pretty decent place all in all compared to some other areas. So it's not like it's a resort area,
Right.
right? It's not like not like a San Francisco that
Not a
everything-
hyper niche, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of a melting pot of different housing inventory. You can get the high end, and then you can get all sorts. You can get new construction in certain places, and then in other places you can't have the new construction.
It's
and
not
then
even existent, right?
So that's what's really fun about the market is once you kind of play back and forth between our agents and offices and us personally, you start to see such a spectrum of different solutions. the whole thing is really interesting to me right now because I get the question a lot, what's going on? What should I expect? And interest rates are at an all-time low,
Chance of them going lower from what they're saying.
which is insane.
I know.
It's insane. Through 2020 is what they're picturing. So,
Yeah.
you kind of look at that, 10-year Treasury note, rate right there. And I mean, it's prime picking for buyers right now. Or if you want to refi, it's a good time to do that as well. But I just find it interesting to have that lack of inventory. If you had a mask over your eyes and, earplugs in, you would assume with those interest rates, things would be flying off the shelf.
Right.
Which I guess they are at a certain point.
So we had a peak of absorption though.
Yes.
So we had some
point.
pent up demand that coming out of a really bad market. So a lot of people purchased, and some people that would have normally purchased over a 3 or 4 year period, a bunch of them purchased in a real short, narrow time window.
Right.
So now keeping the rates low are going to entice other people into that ownership.
Yeah.
So Chris Stewart, right, was talking about home ownership. And so it's now the equivalent of what was ever the high of homes purchased in a year, 2018, and what was it, 2005? Is that right? And so he talked about the number of homes. So of course we had a very low spot, but now we've absorbed. The market has absorbed the same number of homes, which was an all-time high,
Right,
as it did 19 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever it was.
pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that's still working, and you would think that would stabilize appraisals, which hasn't necessarily been the situation.
That's right.
You think that would stabilize the saturation, but month over month, you look at the saturation of how many homes are absorbed, and there's a half a month disparage between the two. So something, the market took 2.5 months, and the next month it's 3 months, and the next month it's 2.25.
Right.
That's huge steps in a 30-day period.
Yeah, those are blips on the radar you should be paying attention to.
Absolutely. And so absorption is in a different place, and like you said, we've got a diverse market, so it's we get kind of like a national look. Because there's so many different segments to our market here, we kind of get an idea of how it is across the nation. That's not
nice.
how all markets
Yeah, it's
are.
a luxury. Yeah. What's interesting, and it doesn't matter what part of the market you focus in, you should always focus in on first-time home buyers because that is a lead indicator in terms of a domino effect, really, for the rest of the market.
Yep.
And what I'm seeing right now is the housing affordability issue is really so. Housing affordability index is kind of it's a ratio back and forth between how much housing will go up in 1 year or several years, and then how much average salaries go up in that same time span. And we're talking on a local level, so they do that on a citywide deal. Right. And for a long time, actually, after we got out of the recession, so I'm probably talking 2014 until present, right, we're seeing that housing price index really outrise what the salaries are doing. And
it's outpacing it, yeah.
You're seeing these first-time home buyers not be able to afford, the house that they want. And so regardless of how nice and enticing these interest rates are, if you can't afford something, nor do you want to stick your neck out there in that type of situation, it's totally understandable.
Right. And something that's impacting that, which we've talked about, there's another buyer pool that's in the market. Meaning the iBuyers, right? So before, what's driving that price up is whenever there's demand on something, right?
Yeah.
The more demand there is for something, the more it pushes the price up. So if that's truly a false group of purchasers,
right,
then that's pushing the price up, and that's impacting that the affordability between the two of those things.
Sure.
So we have to make sure that we keep an eye on that. Now, one of the things that I've heard of probably 3 times in the past 2 weeks is iBuyers bailing out at the 11th hour on a transaction.
Yeah.
Right. You had one in your office.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah. I've had 2 in mine, and the 2 in my office were not last hour. They weren't the last minute like yours was.
Yeah.
But they were after the inspections. So again, if we take a look at everything and kind of squeeze it down in and take a close look at it and try to extrapolate that to our whole market, if that's happening between our 5 offices, if that's happening 3 times in a 2-week period, how much is it happening on a big scale?
Yeah.
So that might be something that could help impact that, because all of a sudden that buyer pool gets pulled out of there, and there's not going to be the drive to push that price up. However, it's not an immediate thing.
No, that'll
It's
be
not going to be something we see tomorrow.
that'll
but-
be yeah, it'll be a little bit of a watershed.
Yep.
So here's something that's interesting. We get the question a lot of like, I'm worried that I don't want to buy because I'm worried there's a recession around the corner. That is something that we see often, and there's a lot of key indicators and a lot of smart people, a lot smarter than Matt and I,
Yep.
that
Not
track that
combined.
stuff. Oh no, combined we're Superman.
Tesla, sit down. Combine us.
But what's interesting is that an article came out today, and like the smart talking heads are definitely saying that there's not a recession, things are healthy. This article came out today in Florida Realtor Magazine. Mortgage lenders turn down about 1 in 10 Florida buyers right now. So I find that really interesting because
Wow.
that was definitely not happening before the crash.
Oh, no.
Everybody and
Completely
their
agree.
brother was getting several loans no matter what. So it's nice for me to see this. It again kind of is a little bit counterintuitive
Right.
to what I should probably be saying. But in terms of a health of a market and
Yep.
kind of the health of the finance side of the market,
100%.
I like seeing that people are getting turned down for loans right now. I mean, I think that's a really nice. It should be comforting for somebody who's saying,
Right.
I think it's going to crash. That is what you want to see.
Yeah, I don't see the same thing with crashing that we saw back then. So great point. That's absolutely part of it. The biggest thing is there has to be an appetite for selling the loan in the secondary market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's a great point.
So there's not an appetite like there was in 04, well, from basically 01 all the way up to 05 or 06, meaning that there's no money in the secondary market to purchase those riskier loans. There's just not an appetite for it. Not to mention the legislation isn't there forcing it to happen like it did before.
Right.
So some of those loans, of course, have to be turned down, and the reason why they have to be turned down is because they can't get them.
Yeah.
A lender doesn't want to get stuck with that loan. Before, when there was a secondary market that pretty much absorbed anything, you didn't have to worry about being stuck with it.
That's
You
true.
make your basis points, 15, 20 basis points, you roll on, sell the loan, but now there's not an appetite for it like there was before. So if I see an appetite in a secondary market for absorbing high-risk loans, then it's time to buckle up. Until I see that, I think we've got a more normalized market here.
What's interesting about this same article is that it shows the top 50 metro areas in the U.S. that has the highest percentage of borrowers getting turned down. The very first 4 are all Florida cities. So Miami number 1, Orlando number 2, Tampa number 3, 4 is Jacksonville, and then Detroit, Birmingham, Houston, San Jose, New York, San Antonio, Los Angeles.
That means our agents are out there drumming up the business, though. I like it.
That's a good outro.
It is.
So, thank you guys. I think that's pretty much
Yep.
what we want to update you on. Can't talk right now. I need more coffee.
All right, well, let's get some more coffee. Get our day started.
Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome weekend. Well, I don't know when we're going to produce this. It might not even be the weekend.
It might not even be the weekend, but
If it's a
make sure-
Wednesday, I'm sorry for saying that.
That's right. If that's when you first listen to it as a Wednesday, then just make sure you look out for another one on Friday because here
Yeah.
it comes. So make sure you subscribe. Do us a favor. Share this with somebody. We know somebody out there. Yeah, thumbs up.
Like
make sure
it.
you like it. We know there's people out there that need to hear about the market. So please make sure you're sharing it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we genuinely appreciate everyone listening. So, share, like, subscribe, comment.
Peace.
Peace.